Hi, and welcome to Shootin' the Breeze. Today, I am so excited to bring you a Twisty Tales and Cozy Crime author, Michele Pariza
Wacek. You almost got it.
I'm excited to bring today Michele Pariza Wacek. And Michele is got the cutest book in this. Look at that in this promo, A Wedding to Murder For. Now, the cover is beautiful, but I have to point out the small little skull right there.
I know, the little poison bottle.
All those little details are what we love these cozy covers for. And this is a great book to pick up for free currently in the prolific works, Twisty Tales and Cozy Crime. Welcome, Michele. I'm so glad you're here.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm so glad I'm here too.
Oh, thank you. Well, let me read a little bit about A Wedding to Murder For. Even though Charlie Kingsley is no doctor, the custom tea blends she makes occasionally produce miraculous results, like the one she steeps in to create to calm a very high-strung bride-to-be. It works, much to everyone's relief, until a murder sabotages the wedding and the bride-to-be is the main suspect. Luckily, there's one thing that Charlie is better at than making teas, and that's solving cases, which she's going to need to do if there's going to be any hope of a wedding ending in a happily ever after. Meet Charlie, better known as Aunt Charlie from the award-winning Secrets of Redemption series. She's back making teas and solving cases in this funny, twisty, cozy mystery series set in the 1990s in Redemption, Wisconsin. I love this. So tell us a little bit about this, well, actually, you know what? I'm going to read your bio, and then we're going to talk about the series. Let me read your bio, Michele. Michele is a USA Today award-winning author. Michele taught herself to read at 3 years old. Wow, because she wanted to write stories so badly. It took some time and some detours, but she does spend much of her time writing stories now. Many stories, to be exact. They're clean and twisty and range from psychological thrillers to cozy with a dash of romance and supernatural thrown into the mix. If that wasn't enough, she posts a lot of fun things on her blog, including short stories, puzzles, recipes, and more. She grew up in Wisconsin, hence why all her books take place there, and still visits regularly. But she herself escaped the cold and now lives in the mountains of Prescott, Arizona with her husband and Southern squirrel hunter, Cassie. When she's not writing, she's usually reading, hanging out with her dog, or watching the Food Network and imagining she's an awesome cook. But spoiler alert, she is not. But luckily for her whole family, Mr. PW is in charge of the cooking. So before we get to the story, let's unpack that bio. So you have a dog that loves to chase squirrels, and I'm sure that living in the mountains, there's a lot of squirrels.
There are. Yes, there are. And in fact, because you're in Kentucky, these dogs, that breed came from Alabama. It was bred to chase. That's why it's a Southern squirrel hunter.
Oh, okay. And what's her breed?
It's actually called a Southern squirrel hunter. It's kind of a mutt. It's not like AKC.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, I've never even heard of that.
Yeah.
That is so awesome. We have schnauzers, and
Oh yes,
they've passed yet, but we're rat hunters, and so
Yeah.
they love chasing squirrels. Like I say squirrel, and they would dart just wherever. They didn't even see the squirrel; they would just dart.
Yeah.
But I love that. And Casey is your dog's name. And now that you're in the mountains in Arizona, do you think that we'll ever get anything set there?
You know, there is actually. It's funny. About a few months ago, I got an idea for all my books are interrelated, and so I have a very complicated universe. And yes, I have a series idea now where somebody from Redemption comes to Arizona as a snowbird situation, and that's going to launch a whole new series. So yes,
Sounds familiar. I love that. So that is so funny. All my books are also set in Kentucky, where I live. Just because it's easy, it's familiar, and I do love it here. But recently, I too had ventured off a character into a no state, and one of my readers are like, "Where state is this in? I've missed the state." And I'm like, "The state of my head," which brings me to talk about the state of your head and how you have just said that your series are kind of interwoven.
Yeah.
And so I love that it's like your own country. Like you have
Yes.
created your own country. And is this true with as well as across your genres with the thrillers as well
Yes.
as so they're all kind of interwoven, interconnected?
Yeah, they're very tightly interwoven. So I actually have two towns. I have Redemption, Wisconsin, which is loosely based on, if you know anything about Wisconsin, Reedsburg, Wisconsin, which is in the it's near Wisconsin Dells, and then Riverview, Wisconsin, is my other Wisconsin city, and that's based off of Madison, Wisconsin, which is actually where I grew up. So they're about 45 minutes apart, and yes, and I've got psychological thrillers and the kind of almost crime thrillers, and then the cozies are actually spin-offs from it. So my whole Charlie Kingsley, she is a character from The Secrets of Redemption, which is actually psychological thriller. So it's really tightly interconnected what I've done here, because so everything, the town, the world is the same, but the cross genres are, but everything. So if you are a cozy reader and you don't mind things a little darker in themes, the psychological thrillers are still clean. So there's no swearing, there's no violence, there's no sex. So I kept that. That's the one thing that's completely the same is that level of cleanness. It's just it's just the themes, like how dark you want your mystery.
Oh, I love that. So Aunt Charlie, was she a quirkier kind of character in the psychological thriller?
Yeah, she was actually dead when I first met her. But it wasn't that's why this takes place in the 1990s. It's not paranormal, because she taught, and we know this from chapter 1. There's no spoilers here. So she meets Becca, the main character. She actually Becca inherits the house. So Becca comes from New York to Redemption and is in the house with Aunt Charlie. And she speaks to Aunt Charlie through her dreams. And that's the thing. Aunt Charlie would not let me go. So I wrote the first 3 books, and then I wrote books 4 and 5, which were the prologue. That was in the late 80s, where how Charlie got to Redemption. And then I thought I was done with Charlie. And then no, Charlie said, we need to start writing these mysteries. And it was funny because I never really intended to write a cozy, but I'm in the middle of writing this. And I said to one of my friends, I said, I think this is turning into a cozy. And she said, well, does she have a cat? Is it in a small town? Does she bake? Is she a teen? I'm like, I'm all of that. It's a cozy.
Oh my gosh. And now you're like 6 books deep into this series.
Yeah. I've got 5 published books. 6 is on pre-order. That's Red Hot Murder. And then I've got the 2 novellas, and one of them is in the prolific. And then there's another one that's published.
And I love that. And I love that I really do. How smart as a writer to a writer. I love how you took all your series and wove those all together and was able to do finger spinoffs of those characters. And so tell us a little bit about how you came up with this particular story for A Wedding to Murder For.
Well, I always want to write a story about a bridezilla. And I noticed that you have a bridezilla novella too.
Yeah, I know.
So that's why the tea calms her down. But yeah, she's a real bridezilla in the book, and so it was fun.
And I love it. I love that. So Aunt Charlie, she's actually there just to as a participant, not a participant, but a guest of the wedding, correct?
Well, she's actually the wedding hasn't happened yet. It's all in the run up to it. So like we have the cake tasting and like and the bridal shower. So there's all, and so that's where all this stuff is happening. And yeah, she's kind of part of the wedding party. She's kind of a bride's whisperer is what they start calling her. She's the only one that can calm down the bride. Oh. So, and that's kind of a running thing too, because there's this one character that has showed up in a couple of these books who, and there's actually a couple of times where they insist that Charlie's like a doctor. So people either call Charlie's sort of a doctor, even though she's not a doctor, she makes teas. And then, or a witch. She's not a witch either. There's no paranormal in it, but as a witch, and she's making potions. So that's the other like kind of like running gag in this whole thing, that she, like people like, well, I need the love potions. Like, I don't create love potions. So then that's the other kind of thing going on.
I love that. When I read the description, I got to thinking about 16 Candles. Do you remember the movie?
Yes.
In the 80s? And that came out when I was in high school.
Yeah.
And so I remember watching that, and the bride had taken something.
Yes. I was in high school too. Yeah.
So when I read your description, I thought, oh my gosh, this is hilarious. That was the image in my head. And then, because the sister had no idea what she was doing, because she was, so you could easily be a murder suspect.
Yeah.
But I love this. And this book is currently, and I tell readers here that this is one of the free for now books in the Twisty Tales and Cozy Crime Prolific Works, because I'm sure, like the rest of us, the other 60 of us, Michele will be putting this for sale for a price. But right now you should grab this. Also, look, while you're at Twisty Tales and Cozy Crime Prolific Works, make sure that you sign up for Michele's newsletter. So Michele, tell us a little bit about your newsletter.
So I've got a weekly one, so it's weekly, and then so it kind of reminds you about the blog. But the other piece of this is I have a virtual book club, which right now is free. It probably will always be mostly free there, but there might be some paid tiers coming, because I've got some ideas for that. But right now it's free, and the bonus part of it is it's got a lot of bonus content. So remember how I've got this like huge universal world going on. I've created, actually, there's even more bonus content that you can get. You'll be able to get as kind of access to this, like little short stories, deleted scenes, that kind of thing. That's going to kind of help fill out sort of the whole mystery of these towns, because they're really quite there's a lot of questionable things going on, and quite a history. And just like my Arizona town, when that finally comes out, it's going to have a lot of questionable history as well. So there's a lot of backstory and a lot of stuff that you're going to be able to get just being on my list, and then also having access to this VIP virtual book club.
I love that. And also in your bio, it said that you have puzzles and all those kind of things on your blog. Yeah. So that brings me to where it's on your blog, all this content.
Yeah. So you have to join the virtual book. So the exclusive book content, you have to actually, it's like I said, it's free, but you have to actually create an account and actually join the book club. And it's all at mpwnovels.com. So yes,
mpwnovels.com. And we'll put all of these links down below for everyone to grab. But I have to say, that's a lot of free content, because I have a Patreon, and they don't get all that content, but they have to pay for it. So,
well, and they might have to pay for it. So right now it's free, but who knows what's going to happen?
They're in this episode, it's free. So I encourage everybody to go over there and look at it. And because, we put a lot of time and energy into that. And I know Michele has really put a lot of time and energy into this, as well as these. It really is hard to write like one series, much less a multiple series in multiple genres that are interconnected. You fascinated me today. But anyways, is there anything that you'd like to say to our readers before we say goodbye?
So, Jill, thank you for joy, being a part of this and reading our stories. As a writer, there's nothing more that makes me so happy and excited as when I'm read. I want to be read more than anything. So yes, so thank you so much for reading that, and I hope that inspires you to get the books and learn more about Charlie.
And where can we find you and stalk you?
Oh, so MPW Novels has a lot of my contact, and then of course all my books are in Kindle Unlimited, which I think yours are as well. So probably my Amazon, which I don't have that link. Yeah, my Amazon's it's following me there, because so Amazon can let you know when there's a new release.
Yeah, I love that. Well, thank you so much, Michele, for joining us and shooting the breeze with us about your novella, A Wedding to murder for in our Twisty Tales and Cozy Crimes prolific works. Grab the book right now while it's free and sign up for Michelle's newsletter. Thank you, Michele.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.